Hey guys, it's Lauren here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to talk about the best books I read in 2021. This doesn't mean they're necessarily published in 2021. They're just books I managed to get to within that year. This is coming out in 2022 because I was terribly sick the last week of 2021 and I couldn't get it off onto my channel. So here we are with my books of 2021. I'm actually gonna go about these in chronological order. This isn't gonna be in the order in which like my favorite above everything else, because honestly I think it's hard to pick favorites between books. I'm just going in chronological order from the beginning of last year to the end. So I guess without further ado, let's get into it. There's really nothing else to say. let me just give the people what they want. All right, here were my favorite books of last year. The first book that I really loved from 2021 was Take a Hint, Dani Brown. It was the book I literally finished, I think, within 3 days of the year starting, and it was amazing. It's by Talia Hibbert, and it's part of the Brown Sisters series, which is a series of 3 sisters who are Black and who are just seeking out romance in their early adult lives. And basically we get to follow them in their various love stories. Take a Hint, Dani Brown is actually the second book in the series. It is beautiful, it is gorgeous, she is beauty, she is grace. Literally, actually, because the heroine is beauty and grace, she's amazing, and honestly, I would, you know, she's amazing. And her charisma kind of comes through the page, which is part of the reason I love this book. But it follows her story along with a security guard. She is a teacher. He's a security guard of this college campus, I believe. And they basically are already friends, but they're kind of moving on to being more than that after being tucked into a fake relationship for the sake of promoting the love interest, his community project. So that's what they end up doing. And as they do it, they end up falling in love and doing fun, smutty things. And it's amazing. It was honestly just such a joy to read. When I read it, it was basically the epitome of what I wanted a romance to be like. So I loved this book. It was a perfect way to set off the tone for 2021 because it was amazing and it just made me feel so very good. Would highly recommend this one. If you are not new to my channel, you already know I gush about this book all the time whenever I get a chance. But yeah, Take a Hint, Dani Brown. Lovely first book of that year and one of my favorites of the year too. The next book that I read and loved was Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. Long Way Down was my first Jason Reynolds book, which is honestly a shame because I literally only read it in 2021, and that is shameful of me. Okay, I apologize to the bookish community. But it was Jason Reynolds' Long Way Down, and it follows the story of this young boy who wants to seek revenge for his brother's murder within his community. So he gets a gun, he goes in an elevator, but on that elevator it doesn't go down quite as quickly as he thought. He ends up encountering various spirits and various entities as he goes throughout the elevator and confronting different parts of his past and whether or not he will continue on with the cycle of violence or break it and try to live a peaceful life and move on from his grief. So that's basically what the book is about. It's already a really heavy topic, but Jason Reynolds somehow manages to manage it in a delicate manner with so few words. It's a book in verse, which is like different for obviously from most books I read. It's the first book in verse I read since Elizabeth Acevedo's The Poet X that impacted me so much, and just every single word on the page had such an impact. Each of the characters just felt so real even with so few words. Each of the poems just had such a big impact on me. I don't really know what else to say. It was just amazing. I think the only other thing I can say is to pick up the book. Pick up the book. Also, I apologize if I sound a little congested. I still am congested from sickness. The next book I want to talk about is Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. Naomi Novik is actually the author I read the most from this year. Surprisingly, I didn't get to read as much as I did in 2020, but Naomi Novik definitely was one of the authors I read the most, and I love each of her books. They're really enchanting in their own way, but Deadly Education was enchanting in a different way. It was slightly more sarcastic than her other books, and I really ended up enjoying it. So in case you're interested, Naomi Novik is a fantasy author who I would highly recommend checking out. But anyways, Deadly Education is a book that follows this Hogwarts-like school. It's a magic school, and basically their goal in the school is to survive, which I know what you're thinking. Isn't that what we're all doing in school? But hold on, the school is literally trying to kill them. And their whole goal throughout the entirety of graduation is that if you live the entirety of the 4 years, you get to graduate and move on with your life. So yeah, that's basically what the school is about. There's this mock chosen one that the protagonist absolutely hates. The protagonist has kind of faulty, like haywire magic, but she's still trying to go through things as well as she can. And she's just exasperated with it all. She's done with the bullshit. And I just love the entirety of the book. I know a lot of people said like some weird things about about it because they're like, oh, this isn't what I was expecting, because they like kind of promoted it as being a Harry Potter book. But I loved it because it was sarcastic, it was witty, it made me laugh so many times, and the fantasy of it was honestly really, really entertaining. And I'm looking forward to picking up the next book that came out. I know it's already out, but I'm waiting for it to either come out in paperback or for me to grab it from the library. But I very much did enjoy Daily Education, so if you're looking for a good time and you're looking for a fantasy novel that you don't have to take too seriously, I would highly recommend A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. My next favorite book of 2021 was Play by Kylie Scott. Now look, I know what you're thinking. You're probably gonna look up this book. You're probably seeing the cover next to my head somewhere and thinking, Lauren, there's a shirtless man on the cover. Listen, I know, but it was part of a challenge. I read new adult books in the beginning of 2021 from February because they're all tended to be romances and they all tend to be smutty and they tend to be fun. And I was like, you know what? I want to try it. It was my first time trying new adult romances, and Play was one of the first that I picked out, and it was amazing. It was fully entertaining. It was a romance between the drummer of the group and just a normal girl who had really bad luck and just lost the place to live from her roommates. So she's looking for a way to pay the rent. She ends up encountering this drummer guy, and they hit it off, but like not quite. It's kind of like a fan to drummer to like enemies to friends to lovers, but also lovers at the same time they're friends. It's also a fake relationship thing too. It's just overall like a really fun time, and I really, really enjoyed it. But yeah, there's nothing like intensely philosophical or like, you know, like blow your mind about the book. But it's a really well-written romance, so if you're looking for something that's a good time and that's really fun, I would recommend Play by Kylie Scott. The books that I am picking out for this list aren't necessarily books that are like very profound. Well, some of them are, but like most of them for the most part aren't like the most profound books I read that year, but just books I really enjoyed and that were memorable and made a mark on my heart. So let's move on with the list. The next book I would recommend, speaking of things that made a mark on my heart, The Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Woolley. Wow. It was the debut novel of Angeline Woolley, and it is a Native American mystery that follows this girl as a string of murders begin to happen throughout her community, and she's basically doing undercover work for the policemen that are in her community, and she's trying to like figure out a way to help her community without like irreversibly harming them through this investigation and through the murders that are going on. And that basically is what the book is about, and it blew my mind. I went in thinking it was just like a normal standard thriller. I was expecting to be thrilled, but like I was thrilled, but like to the point of tears. Okay, there was plot twist after plot twist. Some people like may find it a bit slow in the beginning, but I honestly found like the slow bits to be like really entertaining because there was a lot of world building in terms of letting us know about what the community was about, letting us know like each important part that like the community members played in the protagonist's lives, and just it made every character matter a lot, which made like the things that happened within the book matter a lot. And by the end of it, I related to the character so much that I was brought to the point of tears. And like the protagonist grew so much in the book, and she was already like an amazing character, but she grew so much, and I felt like a proud sister or something. So I don't know, that book made a huge impact on me. It like told a lot culturally, the plot was amazing, the characters were amazing, and I just think it'll blow your mind. So if you want a book that'll blow your mind, I would recommend The Firekeeper's Daughter. It's definitely one of the top books, like might be top of the top books I read this year, so would highly recommend. The next book I read, this is another banger. By the way, this is number 6 on the list, and I put it there on purpose even though it was the last best book I read this year, because I thought it was rightfully for the homage. This book actually did come out this year, I believe, and it is The Atlas 6. And wow, the author outdid themselves. This book is amazing. It literally combines all the tropes I love, okay? Found family, multiple, like a whole group of characters coming together, secret society, magic. It is an early adult book. There are incredibly compelling characters. They're not necessarily friends, but they bash in like amazing ways. There are great combat scenes, just great overall character interactions. It's amazing. And it also grapples with the idea of like basically who has the right to own certain knowledge, which yeah, okay, let me actually explain what this book's about. So this book follows 6 characters that are gathered by the secret society member named Atlas, and essentially there are like new members chosen every year in order to become part of this library society, which basically holds all of the really cool artifacts and knowledge of the world that even most people don't have access to. They're obviously gathered because they specialize in some form of magic. For example, one girl is like really good with the earth, and one guy can see through all illusions illusions, okay? Like, it's amazing. Anyway, so whole purpose is gathering the library, but only 5 can be selected by the end of the term. So all of them are basically competing with each other in order to prove their worth to the society and claim what they can on the knowledge. And yeah, there's a huge plot twist in the book that's amazing. Actually, there's multiple plot twists in the book that are amazing. But it's amazing most of all because the cast was impeccable. And I cannot wait for the second book to come out. It's literally one of the best books I read this year. I enjoyed it so much, and incredible themes. The fantasy was on point. It was amazing. But obviously, it was one of the books that was trending a lot, so I feel like most people know about this book already. Still, in case you didn't, would highly recommend reading the Atlas 6. And finally, the last book I'm going to talk about from my best books of 2021 list, Heartbreak Wonderland and The End of the World by Haruki Murakami. This is my first translated fiction book that I've read intentionally. It was amazing. It was a banger. Now, do I remember most of what happened in this book? No. But essentially, no, I actually do, I do. It's just hard to put into words without spoiling it. So I'll just summarize it as best as I can, right? A man who works for this mind configuration society thing. He's essentially like an engineer. He is called in by this other huge underground scientist in order to solve a problem and basically stop the end of the world. And that is all I will say, but it was amazing. It basically, like, it grappled with themes of capitalism and like life versus work separation and just like so many amazing things. It blew my mind, so I would highly recommend. I mean, Haruki Murakami is one of the best writers of all time. I don't think you really need much more, but yeah, I would highly recommend Heartbreak Wonderland and The End of the World by Haruki Murakami. Definitely was a good book in order to introduce me to that author, because it was the first book I read by him. That is all for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, do the usual, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on all my medias. They're always linked down below, including my Goodreads, so go ahead and check that out, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.